Good afternoon and welcome back to the Chaos and Calm podcast on my very expensive banner there that I purchased that's not quite right. But anyway, moving forward, our second YouTube video, and I'm really pleased and honoured to have as my second guest for the Chaos and Calm YouTube channel, Dave Sargeant. Now, Dave, we first met when I attended AB UK. And
Indeed.
you were one of the, I think I was taken a bit aback because you were one of the only men there. Lots of women, but just you and your boys.
Yep.
So I decided, well, what I thought, I reached out to you, didn't I? And I said I thought it would be a really good idea to have a parent's perspective or have a dad's perspective of what it is to be a send parent from a dad's point of view. So that's why I asked you if you would kindly join me in doing the podcast, and you agreed, which is amazing. So tell me, Dave, tell me a little bit about your boys, as it were.
Okay, so I've got four boys.
Yeah.
I've got one at 15, one at 10, one at 8, and one at 4. All four special boys. But I've got one individual that's an extra special boy, should I say?
Yes. Yes.
My youngest boy, Oliver. He's 4 years old. He turns 5 in October. He got diagnosed with autism around 8-9 months ago.
Okay.
But we was going through the diagnosis stage for a good 2 years. We knew when he turned about 18 months, 2 years old, that there was something just wasn't right with him.
And when you say that, Dave, what was it in particular? Because I know when I've spoken to, when I've done my podcast before, and listeners were asking me, did I see it? I didn't. I didn't see any of the traits that I now know and can clearly see in others. But what was it for you that kind of jumped out that made you thought it was?
There was many things really. There was the when he started walking, he was walking on his tiptoes. He was collecting all of his toys together in one big pile. He wasn't even attempting to talk. He was lining all of his toys up, as you see. He was all colour coordinated. Everything was uniform for him.
Right. Okay.
And he just, because obviously I've had 3 other boys, so I knew what it was like to bring up children that deal with life in a normal way. It sounds awful saying normal, but
neurotypical. Yeah,
neurotypical way basically. So I sensed it straight away. I knew straight away that something wasn't right.
Did you know it was autism?
Yeah, we obviously you do the typical parent thing in your Google, don't you?
Google, yeah. Dr. Google.
Yeah, I know. It's awful. It gives you the worst signs possible, doesn't it, Google?
Yeah. I remember the first time I Googled, I was absolutely mortified. It doesn't paint a pretty picture at all, does it?
No, it doesn't, no.
Autism diagnosis.
No, it doesn't.
And actually, when I think about what I researched on Google because of the lack of kind of support, which I'm sure you yourself have experienced in understanding, what does this condition mean for my child? What does this mean for his life, for his future? And there wasn't anything, which is why, I formed MYSENSability. When I look back at what Dr. Google gave me, my child's completely different to that. He's not even in the same frame as what I Googled.
Yeah. I mean, you do see a lot of things that scares you on Google. But you just got to not take that on and just do things properly and do things your way, the right way. We just had to learn to adapt really quickly to his lifestyle and his needs.
Right.
It was difficult, obviously, for me personally, but you just get there in the end. You do everything you can for your children, don't you? And obviously, we knew Oliver wasn't on the same path as other children. I find it difficult to see other kids in public and things where they're effortlessly doing things, speaking, and it is tough to take. But we're sort of proud of the fact that Oliver has autism because he's his own special little boy. He's got his own special little traits and things like that. So I don't mind talking about it. If people want to talk to me about it in public, I will talk about it because I'm super proud of him and I wouldn't change him for the world. I really wouldn't.
Yeah. he's amazing young boy, isn't he?
Yeah,
So
he is.
what, as a parent of a child with SEND, I mean, one of the things I found initially very difficult was understanding what that meant for my son's future. In relation to the behaviours, it was kind of like identifying what he was trying to communicate to me, because a bit like Oliver initially, Harrison didn't really speak. He would have been what you would class as non-verbal. He's not non-verbal now, I can assure you.
Yeah.
But that was difficult for me to try and understand what he was trying to communicate to me. And you almost have to have a special power, don't you, to understand what it is they want to, because they can't verbalize it, what it is they're trying to tell you. What was the challenges that you found quite difficult to kind of deal with in Oliver?
So what I found, I found difficult and still find difficult is obviously he got diagnosed with non-verbal autism, which he isn't. He's not saying a single word, and they've even said they don't know whether he'll talk ever. So we just don't know. We just got to take every day as it comes and hope that he does. But the biggest frustration for me, and it must be for him as well, because he can't tell us, is how he's feeling.
Yes.
I'm fine with him dragging me to things and pushing me to things that he wants and he needs. But if he's poorly or he's got something wrong with him, there's no way of him telling me or us. And I find that really difficult to take because it must be so hard.
Yeah, and I get that. And that's why, I think I touched on it, Dave, that I work with children with special needs in education.
Yeah.
And one of the strategies that we use to help children, because it's not just being able to verbalize and verbally say, I'm feeling really rubbish today, I'm feeling poorly. It's understanding what that feeling is. And, children with autism don't understand feelings, even very basics, happy and sad, you may get from them, but the bits in the middle, like anxious, worried, poorly, those feelings, they have to be taught. So we use a lot of strategies in education, within specialist provision, to try and get children to understand that. And that is something I can obviously help you with, because it's something that I've done with many families that I've worked with in the past. So one of the key things why, like I said, I've done many podcasts with mums, hearing the mum's side of things, hearing how it impacts on the mum. And I'm a mum at the end of the day. But I've never really heard a podcast where we've heard what it is to be a dad, hearing the dad side of the impact that it's had. And we touched briefly, didn't we, when we spoke yesterday, and I hope you don't mind me talking about this, because
no, it's fine.
Ultimately, I think it's kind of an unspoken area that has a massive impact. There's two areas that I think have a massive impact that doesn't get kind of the attention or the focus. And the severity of it as well doesn't really get talked about, which is the impact that having a child with special needs has on a family, on a relationship, on siblings, and from a dad's perspective as well. So, how has that affected you as a family, with having four amazing boys? I've just got two, but four amazing boys as a family. How has that changed your family dynamics?
It's changed dramatically. I'm not going to lie. Obviously, myself and Oliver's mum have separated recently.
Oh dear, I'm sorry to hear that.
I think it's been a build up of a lot of things, but obviously the stress of Oliver as well, and learning to cope with him every day and his changes every day and his moods every day. As parents, we found it really difficult because we was getting zero respite. Like, absolutely zero. Our parents were great, but only to a certain extent, where they would come and watch him for an hour. We never got time to ourselves. We never did anything together. And it was really, really difficult. And the other part of that is, obviously, when I've got all four boys all together, I can't do anything that involves all four of them, because I have to do something that fits Oliver's lifestyle and his need, and I can't do that to subsidise for a 15-year-old boy as well. It's just really difficult. I can't. It's impossible, basically. So I have to do things separately now with each child. And I mean, I'm fine with that. It's brilliant. I get parent and boy time, which is good, which is great.
Yeah.
Dad and lad time. But yeah, that was the thing, because I always wanted to do something with all four of them, and to find something specifically for all four of them to do when I need to keep.
It's a bit of a challenge, isn't it?
I need eyes in the back of my head when I leave Oliver to roam around.
Yeah.
I can't satisfy everyone. So it's really difficult. That's one thing that's impacted me massively.
Yeah. I mean, it's meeting one of the things that kind of came out of having my Harrison, and I think you don't realise you're doing it as a parent. And it was when I was having a conversation with someone, and they said, the siblings are the ghost children.
Yeah.
And I thought, what is a ghost child? And when I looked at it, I thought, oh my God. And that's the reality, that, everything, I didn't realise I was doing it, but everything that I did was around meeting Harrison's needs. And, I'm very fortunate and very blessed that my oldest just kind of rolled with it. And he didn't moan, he didn't complain. But I think as SEN parents, you don't realise how much you adapt everything in your life to meet the child's needs.
No, exactly. Yeah. I mean, the brilliant thing about having the three other boys, and the older headed as well, they're absolutely brilliant with Oliver. They understand what he needs now.
Yeah.
It's taken a while, obviously, because they've never seen it before. But especially Max, who's only 3 years older than Oliver, he's unbelievable with him. He just wants to make sure he's loved all the time and make sure he's happy all the time. And it's brilliant. Honestly, it's heartwarming, really. And that makes me even more proud of a dad. So,
Dave, can I ask you, what are Oliver's strengths?
What would you say Oliver's strengths? His eye contact's one massive strength, I can tell you that. He doesn't stop staring at you.
Does he not?
No. But he's just a very happy boy.
Yeah,
he's really happy. I mean, he's got some. There's some traits in his behaviour where people from the outside world who aren't educated will think, "Wow, what a naughty boy." But
what? Come on, we're doing this to educate.
Yeah,
educate people, aren't we?
He'll do things like he's literally ripped the oven door off our oven. He's literally pulled it down and started jumping on top of it, but he doesn't understand. He doesn't know.
No, because to him it's bouncy.
Yeah, he obviously has sensory needs, so he likes the feeling of his head being smashed on certain things.
Yes.
So
that stood out for me.
He's put about 3 holes in his bedroom wall.
Right, and you've been to A&E with him as well a few times, haven't you?
Yeah, been to A&E numerous times. I'm sure they just see us every time and think, same again. Just one of those. But yeah, he has tantrums when he doesn't get his own way. He won't walk. Yeah. He won't walk. If you go on days out and go for walks, he will just want picking up all the way around. He won't walk, and then if you don't pick him up, oh God,
he drops to the floor.
That's it, yeah. And then he will paddy, and that's where people think, what a naughty boy, but he's really not.
No, he's not. And, it used to frustrate me really badly that whenever I used to take my son my son's as big as me now. You've had the joy of meeting him. But when he was younger, we'd go to local shopping centres, local to me, and it was a sensory need. It was because it was like really high ceilings, the noise, and it was dysregulating him. So he would drop to the floor. And the number of people that would walk past and give really disapproving looks while I'm trying to get him up. And in the end, I thought, do you know what? I'm not going to change him. I think that's when I had kind of the epiphany. I'm not going to change what he's doing. They need to change what they're seeing.
Exactly,
and they need to understand what they're seeing. Yeah. This isn't a child throwing a tantrum because I'm telling him no for any reason. He's dysregulated because of the environment that he's in.
Yeah,
until he can regulate himself, I'm going to sit on the floor with him. So that's what I used to do. I used to just sit there on my phone. And when he'd come back down, I'd go, all right, we're ready. Okay. And I'd get up and then carry on with what I was doing. But as a SEN parent, I think a lot of the pressure we put on ourselves isn't us per se. Mm-hmm. It's the outside world that puts that pressure on us.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I totally agree with you.
Our child behaving a certain way. And I think once you remove that and you go, well, do you know what? Actually, I don't really care what you think or what you think you're seeing. The important thing here for me is my child, and that he's actually okay, and that I can get him in a place where he's happy again. I don't care what you think. And it doesn't. It's sad because I wish all of society could actually see the backstage, as it were, what actually goes on with an SCN child on a day-to-day basis, and they wouldn't have the same opinion. They certainly would give the disapproving looks.
I do think the awareness side of things, it is growing, it is getting there, but I do think the awareness needs to be pushed a little bit more. Not just by us as parents and as a community, but by the whole nation. Everyone that's dealing with it, because obviously we're not the only family dealing with these issues and struggles, but if everyone could just push it that little bit further, I do think we can make a statement on autism. Absolutely.
Yeah, and that's part of what you did, wasn't it, when you worked with AB UK to do the charity football match?
Yes, exactly that.
And why you do various podcasts, to be fair, Dave, don't you? Got a few famous friends, haven't you? Let's drop some names, as we were talking in the other podcast.
Yeah, I have indeed. I mean, it's not just through the AB UK stuff. I've obviously been involved with sport from being a kid, but I grew up with a few decent sports people. I mean, Tom Aspinall being one of them.
Okay.
The World UFC
and he's
champion.
Got children with knees, hasn't he?
He has, yeah. So we've got something in common there. We always have a chat about it when we speak. Because it's all relevant, isn't it? And we both are aiming for the same goal. We've both got the same targets with autism. We want to do what we can to raise awareness and to get the education side pumping. So if we can do that, the sooner the better, really. Yeah. But there's a lot of sports guys. Wayne Godwin, who used to play rugby for Wigan Warriors, he's got a little boy with autism, so he can relate to it as well. Yeah, and it's brilliant because we come together. And
you're all dads as well.
Yeah,
we're
exactly.
All dads, which I love.
All dads, yeah, and we're all really passionate about it. And yes. I've recently just got affiliated with another charity called Life for a Kid in Yorkshire, right. And they do charity rugby matches with all the ex-professionals, and they do it for autism as well. So. Right. And there's a guy there that I'm talking to at the moment, and we're going to organise a huge event next year to raise awareness for autism. So everyone from Yorkshire, from Lancashire, so it's growing. We're getting there. We're getting everyone together on a wider scale. So hopefully within the next 12 months we're going to have something big going ahead, and we can get everyone involved, and we can raise a lot of money. I know money's not everything, but it's a bonus. But the main thing is the awareness and education side of things.
Well, it is. And I agree with you there, Dave. I mean, I'm trying to approach it from a different angle, in that I'm trying to actually do the educating via my MAD training. I've delivered my training now to Howbridge, to Be Well Wigan teams, various teams on Be Well Wigan, the Pelican Centre, Eastleigh AFC. And every single time someone attends my training and receives my training, they have nothing but positiveness, positive feedback, and it actually gives them the choice. It gives them the option to be able to go, oh, actually, I can tell what that behaviour is. Have you had an incoming call?
Yeah, any call then? Yeah, sorry.
It's all right. So it actually gives them the choice to understand it more.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to educate from a different perspective, in that if the facilities or the services that we use are educated in it, it will just make every other SEN parent's lives that much easier.
Absolutely. I think we need a lot more people like you again. I'm not going to lie.
Well, I'm one person, and I'm pretty sure my husband would not agree with you if I was to tell him that I was going to be cloned. He would not think that was a good idea.
I'm sure it just make the world a better place.
So, does Oliver attend mainstream or specialist at the moment?
He, obviously, my other three boys attend mainstream school. We applied for specialist provision with Oliver, and we got in straight away. Just because of his needs and the severity of his autism. So he's gonna attend Langate next month. And
is he going to Langate?
Going
yeah,
to Langate,
yeah.
We had his taster day last but 2 weeks ago, and it just felt like home for him already. And we can't wait for him to start, because we think his development will progress massively. And within the first 6 months, I'm so confident that I'm going to see a change.
So, Dave, I know it's most probably a question that we all have, and it's one that bothers me, and I tend to not face it that much. But what concerns do you have for Oliver's future? What does Oliver's future look like for you?
Do you know what? I try not to think about it.
Yeah,
I just want to take every day as it comes, and see what we can do as a family, as parents, as a community, and with his education in school. Let's just see how it goes. But yeah, I hand on heart, I've not even thought about it, because I can't.
Yeah,
I just can't do it.
It's a hard thing to do, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
I've tried to, but then I just kind of switch off to it. And I was just curious, as a dad, is that something that keeps rearing its ugly head, per se?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I've tried to think about it, but it scares me. So I try not to, just because of the way the world is at the moment.
Yeah.
And what's going on in the outside world, it's scary, and I fear for my kids who are growing up in mainstream.
Yes.
Not just SEN kids.
Without a need, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, as I said, I try not to think about it. But listen, he's got 2 best parents in the world, and we'll support him through thick and thin, which goes without saying.
Yeah. Can I ask you a question, Dave? Because I looked at a survey while I was doing a bit of research, and in the research it said that fathers tend to come to acceptance of their child's need or additional need quicker than mums. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely.
Do you think?
Yes. I mean, I don't know about you personally.
Okay.
But between me and Jessica, his mum, I sort of adapted to his needs pretty quick. Just because
you accepted that he had a need quicker than mum.
And I accepted it straight away anyway, because I knew what was coming. It was just it was inevitable. The diagnosis was inevitable. I knew what was coming. I accepted it when he turned 2, even before this.
Because that's really, really early to get diagnosed too, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's very rare.
2's early to get diagnosed. I mean, it's very rare to get diagnosed before you start school. So we're really lucky in that sense. But we're glad it's happened, because he's going to get all the support that he needs now.
Yeah.
But yeah, I learned to accept it straight away. He's always been a daddy's boy anyway. So it was just one of those things that I needed to do.
Yeah. So, Dave, if you could tell another SEN parent from a male perspective, what advice would you give another SEN parent from a dad's perspective?
From a dad's perspective,
what advice would you give them?
I think every dad would be the same as well, but the support that the mother needs when you're at work or when you're away from home and they've got them full time, that's key. What other advice would I give? Be patient. Patience is key, I think, because they will do things that grind your gears, but you've got to learn to understand that it's not their fault. They don't know. So
my son thought he'd write all over me wardrobes in my bedroom with red pen, permanent marker yesterday, and he said he drew a picture of me that looked like a monster with red marker. So I was. The school holidays have been very challenging, let's just say that. Yeah.
Imagine.
So, he was just having fun. He found a red marker and thought, I'll do some drawing on the wall.
Yeah, why not?
He's not being naughty. I hate that term, naughty.
Yeah, I do as well.
He wasn't being naughty. He was just engaging in something that made him happy.
Exactly.
Unfortunately, it was on my wardrobe, and it was in red permanent marker.
Nice.
But that's a daily. I think as some parents, and you'll most probably agree, you kind of learn, don't you? It's like gets instilled in you which battles you need to actually fight.
Yeah.
And is this a battle? Is he hurt? Is he, is he injured? Is he unhappy? is this a battle, even though I'm not happy that I need to enter?
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
No, it's not one. Just clean it off and move on, Gaynor.
Yeah.
That's how I kind of approach everything now. Is it a battle that I need to get into because it's not acceptable?
Yeah.
And he needs to understand. And then I have a chat with myself and decide and go, no, move on.
Yeah, well, listen, there's times when Oliver's tantrumed and he's needed me for something, but he's not really needed me. He's just done it for a bit of attention or whatever, and then I've left him, and then within 5 minutes he's back to his normal self, laughing around, joking around, and I'm like, you little rascal.
The cheeky, aren't they?
Yeah, cheeky,
They're so cheeky. They're very manipulative.
Oh, yeah.
And very cute and very cheeky.
I know.
And I think that's why they get away with it. Well, listen, Dave, I said it was going to be a quick one. I just wanted to have the chat with you from a parent's perspective, from a STEM parent. You know, I'm involved with AB UK because I'm going to be helping Cordelia on another project that we're doing. But just for the listeners that aren't familiar with AB UK, tell them a bit about the wonderful Cordelia and what she's just done now. I can't believe what she's just gone and achieved. Oh my God.
Obviously AB UK is a local charity based in Wigan. It was founded and is run by Cordelia Singh. She's an amazing woman. She's brilliant at what she does. She's very passionate about this charity that she's founded. Obviously we raised a lot of money through the football. We've raised a lot of money through other events as well, which has now eventually got us our own little play area for the kids. And
you've got your own little home, haven't you?
Own little home now, which Cordelia's worked her socks off on. I've got to give it to her. She's been brilliant with that. And with AB UK has got its own little. They own their own little facility now, rather than venturing out to Preston and venturing out to Leigh and hiring places, renting places. So now we've got our own little place, and it'll be great for the community now as well. Obviously, for the mums and dads that probably couldn't drive or whatever, it's round the corner. It's brilliant.
I think for me, when I first went to AB UK to speak to Cordelia, because I've met her many times before at Open Air Bounce when she's come to the sessions at OAB. And I think when I went to the AB UK session on a Saturday morning, the thing that jumped out for me when I met you was just how much of a family you all are. Kind of you just welcome everybody in, everyone's dead smiling, and you can see the difference it's making to those parents by having that support group, which is just phenomenal. She's just an amazing individual. You know, and I'm going to try and help her and support her wherever I possibly can.
That's brilliant.
So Dave, it's been an absolute pleasure.
Likewise.
And I'm sure I will be speaking to you again, I'm sure, in the future. Now that we've made this connection. And thank you, listeners of the Cares and Calm podcast. This will be accessible via the MYSENSability YouTube channel or accessible on mysensibility.uk. So all that remains is to wish you a good evening. Where is the lovely Oliver now?
He is at home at the moment. I'm currently away from home.
Oh right, you're out and about?
I'm out and about.
Your job. Yeah, cool. Oh, fantastic. Well, as long as they're having a good time, that's all that counts, isn't it? Thank you very much, Dave. Thank you very much for joining me, Dave. And I'm sure I'll see you down at the new headquarters of AB UK at some point in time. You have a good evening. All right, take care. All right, bye. Bye.